G'day guys, how's it going? I'm Aaron Whitnall. This is ACWSport, and what a weekend, week 8 of the Premier League season was. You had Palace scoring for the first time this season, Chelsea losing, Arsenal losing, and Manchester City scoring 7. And I think that is where to start, because City was simply irresistible in this game. They absolutely blew Stoke out of the park, 3-0 up before you knew it. However, you do have to say that they did get complacent at 3-0, which is why Stoke were able to get back into the game, and at one point it was 3-2. But you can see that this season there is just something different about them, because as the moment a team comes back into a game, as Stoke tried to, City were just like, all right, then you actually want to play. Fine, then we'll start playing now again. And just blew them out the park once again. There were some beautiful goals in there. I mean, Fernandinho's strike was absolutely blistering. Kevin De Bruyne is just on another planet at the moment compared to the rest of the Premier League for me. So far, since he joined in 2015, he's got 32 assists, which is more than any other Premier League player. And he was phenomenal in this game. I mean, some of the passes he was putting through, they were the kind of passes that you just can't defend against. They're unmanageable, and it was just an absolute pleasure to watch. But yeah, I mean, just to sum up how impressive City were, 8 of their starters got either a goal or an assist, which is ridiculous. Considering Stoke are supposed to be a good team, although their away form, as it's been proven in the past, isn't always the best. But to concede 7, wow. But yeah, I mean, fantastic start to the season for City. They've become the first team since Everton in 1894 to score 29 goals in their first 8 games. It was just an absolutely wonderful weekend for them. It's going to be exciting to see what happens when they meet Manchester United, if those two teams are still up there at the top, and also Spurs, because as they showed when they went to Chelsea, they're not afraid of playing anyone, and they're not going to try and defend. They're just going to attack. So I really can't wait to see them play those other big boys as well if they keep on going like this. Same can't be said for Chelsea, because wow, what an awful 10 days it has been since they beat Atletico Madrid. They lost to Crystal Palace. Yeah, I mean, it was really weird. It was like watching Chelsea in this game. Chelsea were playing like Palace have played in every other game so far this season, and Palace were playing like Chelsea have played so far in every game this season, because Palace were brilliant. Yes, they scored their first goal for this season. It equivalated to Palace's first goal in 731 minutes. I mean, it was just ridiculous. All right, it was an own goal from Azpilicueta, but then, to be fair, the Zaha goal, that was a goal worth waiting for. He was brilliant. Just when Palace fans, I'm sure you kind of lost all faith in this season, Wilfried Zaha comes back and he looks fantastic. The kind of form that got him his move to Manchester United. And, it's a shame that England didn't consider him, because when he's playing like this, as he showed, he can be a threat against any team, and really did well against Chelsea. But yeah, poor couple of weeks for Chelsea. They're going to really need to look to bounce back against Roma and get their season back on track. I mean, from one team that's been disappointing to another. Welcome to the room, Arsenal. I mean, what is it with Arsenal? Seriously. You had got back on track. You were doing fine against teams that you were expected to do fine against. And you thought, right, they can continue picking up decent wins. You even got a draw at Chelsea. Continue picking up the easy wins. It's going to get you back up the table, and you might have a chance of getting back in that race for top 4. And yeah, I mean, as Troy Deeney said when he went on BT Sport after, you have no kahunas whatsoever. They were so... It's not that you were necessarily poor, but yeah, I mean, Watford just had more spirit than you. And yes, Arsenal squandered chances, no doubt. And yes, they were unlucky to concede that penalty. Was it a dive? I don't necessarily think it was a dive. I think Wenger saying that that was the thing that changed the game is a bit ridiculous, because it wasn't. It's just about Arsenal lost their fight, really, and bottled it like Arsenal do. But yeah, I mean, it was just Arsenal fans know it was just a disappointing weekend for Arsenal, really. I think when you look at Watford, Silva's been brilliant. I mean, they're up to 4th now. They are the surprise package of the season. They're not going to finish there, obviously. But I think Watford have got a good chance of finishing in the top 10 if they keep playing this way. It was their first home win of the season, which was surprising because, they're doing quite well. But I think the thing that just gets me with Arsenal is just when you look at their players, they're just not playing in the right position. Xhaka is not a holding midfielder. And you can see that so easily when you look at the Tom Cleverley goal in the last minute. Because Cleverley is standing still in the penalty box. He's not moving, he's just standing still. In acres of room, Xhaka is standing still watching him. He just watched him score. That's not what a defensive midfielder does. Look, Xhaka can be a good player, but I just don't think he's played in the right position. And I think the excuses Wenger came up with were pretty poor of him, really. He should have just admitted that in the second half, Watford wanted it more, and that's why they won the game. Just be a bit honest every now and then. I hate it when managers constantly make excuses. But, disappointing for Arsenal. Won't be disappointed for Tottenham, though, because they finally won at Wembley in the Premier League. Big, big win. Although they really had to work for it because Bournemouth forced some very good saves from Lloris at 0-0. And they will feel pretty unlucky that they didn't come away from this game with something. But, massive win for Spurs. They finally get the duck off their back. Wasn't a convincing win. I still think they need that to completely prove that they are comfortable at Wembley finally. But a win is a win. Eriksen got his 3rd goal in 5 games now. And, good 3 points for Spurs. Gets them kicking on, and they'll be very excited about their trip to Madrid in midweek. Same can't be said for Liverpool or Manchester United because, let's think of the easiest way to describe this game. I got it. No, it wasn't a chance. No, look, it was just so boring. And look, yes, Liverpool fans will feel a bit angered that the team didn't win because, you had the better of the game. You still weren't amazing, to say the least. You had one real clear-cut chance, just like United did. However, United fans, yes, it wasn't a very good performance. I don't necessarily think Mourinho wanted his team to be that bad. I think the fact Lukaku and Mkhitaryan disappeared in that game is not Mourinho's fault. They just didn't put in good shifts. However, United should still see this as a good point because, and I know everyone's going to go on about the fact that United didn't play the way that Fergie played when he went to Anfield. Well, yeah, but Fergie only won one of his last 6 visits to Anfield before he retired. He didn't have a very good record at Anfield, particularly before he left. And I mean, when you look at the fact that Liverpool have only lost once at Anfield since January, and they've only conceded once so far this season at Anfield, it's not the worst point in the world, is it? So, at the end of the day, he's still unbeaten. It's one game. At the end of the season, this could be a massive point. I don't necessarily think United fans should be too disappointed. I think they'll get straight back to winning ways against Benfica and Huddersfield. And at the end of the day, as long as you're still up there, who really cares at this stage of the season? Just keep up the fight. So, but Liverpool should definitely be more disappointed than United should be with that game. Another team that should be disappointed on Merseyside is Everton. I drew away at Brighton thanks to a last minute. I mean, God knows what the Brighton player was thinking with that elbow, but Wayne Rooney saves them with a penalty. Everton haven't won away from home since January. It's just not good enough, really, is it? Koeman should have his team better organised than this. They should be able to do better away from home. Brighton will see it as a good point. They'll see it as a good point, but they'll also feel very unlucky that it wasn't 3 because they were the better side for me in this game. Just more pressure on Koeman. We're going to have to see how he deals with it in the coming weeks. A very good game played out at St Mary's, though. 2-2 between Newcastle and Southampton. 2 wonderful goals, 2 very good goals from Gabbiadini. The penalty was very well taken. His first goal, brilliant, with that many defenders around him in the box to get the shot off the way that he did. But I say Fraser Foster didn't have the best of games. Perez's goal, he should have got up a lot quicker than that, and also shouldn't have been beaten at his near post. But Newcastle played brilliantly. I think they'll actually feel quite unlucky they didn't get the win, but you can see Benitez has really got them well organised. And Southampton can take away the fact that they've actually scored at home as a real plus. So I think both teams will be fairly pleased. I think they're around the same level, to be honest with you, when you see how well Benitez has got Newcastle organised. So yeah, good point for both teams. Very entertaining game. There was a fairly entertaining game at Burnley as well. They drew 1-1 at home to West Ham. They'll feel disappointed that they didn't win, considering that West Ham went down to 10 men for so long. I mean, Andy Carroll's red cards were stupid. He should know so much better than that, especially that second challenge. That was a straight red, let alone a yellow card. Player of his experience. Yeah, it's just disappointing, and I can understand why Bilic would be disappointed because, I mean, since he's taken over, West Ham have received more red cards than any other team in the Premier League, and that's a record that no one wants. So he's going to feel frustrated that Carroll's now banned for a few games, which, is never good. However, one positive is that Antonio is, back in a West Ham shirt, scored his first goal of the season, and for me, he just brings West Ham quality, and I think him, Lanzini and Hernandez, you saw them putting together some really good moves for West Ham in this game. He gives West Ham something different. And for me, if he's fit at the end of the season, Michail Antonio should go to the World Cup because for me, he would give England a different form of power and pace that England lack. And if you ask me right now who I'd rather take, someone like Theo Walcott or Michail Antonio, I'd take Antonio. I just think he's proved that he's really good in the Premier League, and I think he would give England something different. So something to consider. But yeah, let me know in your comments below if you think Antonio should go to the World Cup if he's fit at the end of the season. They will also feel a bit unlucky, Burnley, that they didn't have a penalty at 0-0 when Hart clattered into Wood. But, West Ham should see it as a positive point away from home. Turf Moor's generally quite a tough place to go. Huddersfield will feel very disappointed, though, because it's safe to say their honeymoon period in the Premier League is officially over as they lost to Swansea 2-0. Now, it's great to see Tammy Abraham scoring twice. I do hope he has a big future, especially considering that obviously he's on loan from Chelsea. But, Huddersfield will feel really aggrieved that Ince missed such a big chance at 0-0. Huddersfield now haven't scored in 4 games, and Man U and Liverpool are their next 2. So they really need to turn around soon. They've got to hope they can get something out of those 2 games. But really, they're probably going to do what Palace have done and focus on after those 2 games. But we'll have to wait and see. And the final game was last night. West Brom 1, Leicester 1. Safe to say the Craig Shakespeare honeymoon is also over with Leicester because they are really struggling to get any form of win. I think they've only won 1 of their last 10 or 11 games under Shakespeare. Not good. But, to be fair, the free kick from Nasser Chadli was something special. So I think that's just something that you can't help. But yeah, wonderful free kick from him. And I think both teams will be disappointed that that game ended in a draw. But that pretty much sums up all of Week 8's action from the Premier League. Please comment below, let me know what were your major talking points of the season. Do you agree with what I've had to say about the games? What are your major talking points about the weekend? And, do you agree with my comments about each of the games that have been played? Please comment below, let me know. As always, I'm Aaron Whitnall, and please don't forget to subscribe to ACWSport. I will see you on Thursday with my review of the Champions League Week 3.